So remember that book we read earlier this week? Can you tell me anything you remember about the book?
That the family, they didn't really have anything for New Year's, so the son went to go buy eggs, and instead he found
the walk. Yeah.
And it was actually a magic walk.
Right. So that magical walk filled itself up and brought them everything they needed. Well, today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. What comes to mind when you think of the word monster?
Big, spooky things.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's all kinds of different monsters. These were some pictures I found of different monsters. Some of them have one. Okay, so these are some different pictures of monsters that I found. Some have a few eyes, some of them have one or two, some have scary teeth. But we are going to read about a monster under the bed. But before we do that, I've got a few vocabulary words that the author uses in the book, and I want you to predict what they mean. What do you think the word ragged means?
Like messy. Like didn't brush your teeth, didn't brush your hair or anything.
Yeah. Spooky.
Scary.
Awesome. And well groomed.
Put together.
Yeah, put together. They look nice, which is not usually a word that you find when you're talking about monsters. So I'm going to start to read the book, and then I'll have you jump in. So it is called I Need My Monster. Tonight when I looked under the bed for my monster, I found this note instead. Gone fishing, back in a week. Gabe. What was I going to do? I needed a monster under my bed. How was I supposed to get to sleep if my monster was gone? I tried to sleep, but it wasn't the same without Gabe. I missed his ragged breathing, his nose whistling, the scrabbling of his uncut claws. How would I ever get to sleep without Gabe's familiar scary noises and his spooky green ooze? It was no use. Gabe would be gone for a week, and I just had to have my monster. I climbed quietly out of bed so my parents wouldn't hear me. Grown-ups have some strange ideas about monsters under beds. I knocked on the floorboards, then scrambled back under my covers. I waited nervously. Would a new monster appear? What would he be like? Would his snorting be as cheerful as Gabe's? When I heard some creaking under my bed, I knew that the substitute monster had arrived. Good evening, said a low, breathy voice. My name is Herbert, and I will be your monster for the evening. Herbert? What kind of name is that for a monster? You don't sound scary at all. Have you ever been scared a kid before? Well, no, but I have read all the best books on the topic. Do you have long teeth and scratchy claws? I asked. No, but I have an overbite, and I'm a mouth breather. Listen. Herbert's panting was kind of scary, but it wasn't enough for me. Listen, Herbert, I'm sorry. I just don't think this is going to work. It's nothing personal, but I really need a monster with claws. Picky, Herbert complained. As you wish, I'll go. There was more creaking, then Herbert was gone.
Some scratching warned me that a second monster had appeared. Good evening, he said in a high, silky voice. My name is Ralph. I understand you need a monster claws. If you please lean over, I will hold out an arm for inspections. I crouched over the edge of my bed, hoping to see a horrible shaggy arm with sharp claws.
Sharp, ragged nails. Instead, I was surprised to see sleekly brushed fur with smooth, shiny claws. Excuse me, I don't mean to be rude, I asked. Is that nail polish on your claws? Yes, it is, Ralph replied. I believe professional monsters should always be well groomed.
I could tell this was not going to work either. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Ralph, but I need a monster with scary claws, like Gabe's, I thought. I heard some more scratching, and I knew Ralph was gone. A minute later, a third voice from under the bed rasped. Check out these claws, kid. I gathered my courage and peeked over the edge. The claws were impressive, jagged, and dark. and razor sharp. So far, so good. I was a little nervous. Could you stick out your tail? I whispered. Sure, but don't get scared.
I peeked through my fingers at the slimy tail slithering over the foot of my bed. That's when I noticed the bow. Are you a girl monster? Of course I am, she snapped. I'm Cynthia. Do you have a problem with that? Yeah, I do, I admitted. I definitely need a boy monster. Boy monsters are for boys and girl monsters are for girls. Everybody knows that. Well, aren't you the picky one? She sniffed, then she was gone. Was I being too picky? No. I knew that my monster needed to be well-clawed and menacing. The whole point of having a monster, after all, was to keep me in bed, imagining all the scary stuff that could happen if I got out.
Then I heard a shuffling noise and some slobbering. A fourth monster was under my bed. Hey, the name's Mac. One look at his claws proved that Mac was a big, scruffy boy monster. I shivered. Maybe this one would work out. Those are excellent claws. But do you have a long tail? I leaned over to see. No, my tail is stumpy, Mac slurped. But I do have an unusual long tongue. Why would I be afraid of a long tongue? I asked. Oh, I don't know, he said, trying to sound terrifying. You might never know when I might lick you.
I fell back on the bed laughing. Yeah, so the author is using almost as if he's stuttering, unusually long. So you did a great job on that. Well, if you're not even going to try to work with me, Max whined. I held in my giggles. I really don't think you should send me away, he warned. Kids reject 5 monsters in one night. I did not reject 5 monsters tonight, I interrupted. My regular monster went fishing. Fishing, eh? Maybe he just left because you're so picky. Fine, I'm out of here. But I wouldn't expect another monster tonight if I were you. How was I ever going to get to sleep without my monster?
I was surprised to hear more creaking on my bed. Loud creaking was scratching. I thought no more monsters were going to appear tonight, I said. Sorry I'm late, kid. Phew, it was Gabe. I thought I would enjoy fishing, but I didn't, he explained. Those fish scare too easy. No challenge at all. You, however, are challenging, my friend. You're almost too old to be afraid of monsters. You keep me on my toes. Toes? A delicious snack. The bed quivered as Gabe's stomach rumbled with hunger. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to start the evening with a ominous puddle of drool. I peeked over the edge of the bed. Green ooze spread soundlessly from underneath.
Then the bed trembled as Gabe unfurled his spiked tail. He was daring me to guess where he might pop up. I shivered. So you had some substitute monsters tonight, Gabe said, sharpening his claws on my bedpost. Were you scared? Then Gabe started tapping. I could tell he wanted to know if I still needed him. No other monster can scare me like you, I giggled, diving under my covers and pulling them up tight. Through the blanket, I heard Gabe's soft, comforting snorts. Ha! I knew it. We're made for each other, he growled.
When my blankets started to slip off the bed, I knew Gabe was ready to eat. Now, if you could please stick out your foot, he said. I would like to nibble your pinky. I yanked my blanket back up and scrunched my feet in so Gabe couldn't get them. No toes tonight, but you can have this, I offered, pushing a pillow off the bed. I didn't even hear it hit the floor.
Gabe was back. The ooze was perfect. Everything was back to normal. I shivered again. I'd be asleep in no time. So this author used some really great, vivid adjectives to describe her monster. She used some of our vocabulary words: ragged, spooky, well-groomed. She used ominous for the pool of blood. Ragged, which she used that a few times. Jagged, dark, and razor-sharp claws. Even one was well-groomed with fingernail polish. So what I want you to do now is I want you to create your own monster that you would want under your bed. It could be any kind of monster. It could have one eye, no eyes, 5 eyes. It could be any color you want. It could have sharp teeth, no teeth. But after you create and draw your monster, I want you to use at least 3 descriptive adjectives to describe your monster. You can use some of our vocabulary words. You could use some adjectives that this author used, or you can come up with your own. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that, and then I want you to share it with me. All right. So you did a great job reading with me today, Melina, and predicting our words. I'm super proud of you. So I want you now to tell me, in closing, about your monster.
Well, I said that she had a slithering tail.
Oh.
She was very spooky, and she has a really silky voice.
So I love the adjectives that you use. A slithering tail really helps me picture this monster. So she kind of looks like a person. She's got this really long tail, and she's got some spooky teeth. So you did a great job today, Melina, and I am so proud of you. Thank you for all of your hard work.